You know that dream, right? That feeling of walking into a flea market and stumbling on some incredible treasure that's worth a fortune? We've all had it. But let's be real, when it comes to scouting for vintage silver, that fantasy is a long, long way from the truth. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you what it's really like, the actual grit behind the supposed glamour of the hunt.
So this is the big question, isn't it? It's the one every single scout has to ask themselves, whether you do this on weekends or you're a seasoned pro. Are you holding a piece of history, a hidden gem, or did you just buy some fancy tarnished junk? The difference between the two? It's not luck. It's all about what you know.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. On one side, you have the myth, right? The Antiques Roadshow fantasy, that one big score, like hitting a slot machine jackpot. But the reality for the pros is on the other side. It's a grind. It's patient, meticulous, hard work. It's a whole lot less like playing the lottery and a whole lot more like becoming a master craftsman.
Okay, so how do we make that leap from hopeful amateur to, a really savvy scout? Well, here's our game plan. First, we're going to completely shatter that treasure hunter myth. Then we're going to get our hands dirty with the reality of the hunt. After that, we'll talk about something deeper, what it means to be a steward of history. Then we'll get practical with a tactical guide. And finally, we'll figure out where the real value is in all this.
So, let's dive into that myth. We've all imagined it. You're digging through some forgotten box at an estate sale and boom, you find a masterpiece you can flip for a huge profit. It's a great story, you know? But honestly, it just sets up most people for a whole lot of disappointment.
So what's the reality then? Well, forget the glamour. Seriously. I want you to picture being in a cold, damp garage. Your hands are covered in this weird gray dust, and your back is killing you from bending over rusty old bins for hours. This isn't some swashbuckling treasure hunt. It's more like a slow, careful, forensic investigation. It takes a ton of patience and a really sharp eye. And get this, the scale of what we're losing is just staggering. Think about it. 9 out of 10 pieces of what people call estate silver just gets thrown out. It ends up in a landfill. And why? It's because most people just can't tell the difference between a restorable piece of history and a piece of junk. The stakes here are actually pretty high. This table really just lays it all out. The huge gap between what people expect and what actually happens. Newcomers think they're going to find amazing stuff everywhere. But pros, they know the real finding rate is maybe one good piece for every 50 they look at. You hope for something shiny you can put right on the table, but what you usually find is stuff that's tarnished, dented, and totally neglected. And the hallmarks, the little stamps, they're not bright and clear. They're usually worn down or even hidden. It all means one thing. The profit is never instant. It only comes after you've put in the work.
Yeah, let's just let that number sink in for a second. 1 in 50. And that's the rate for a professional who knows what they're doing. See, this isn't about getting lucky. It's a numbers game, and it demands some serious persistence and a really deep knowledge of what you're even looking for in the first place.
I love this quote because it perfectly captures the professional mindset. Sifting through all that junk isn't a failure. It's research. It's data collection. Every single piece you pick up, even the worthless ones, is teaching you something. It's sharpening your eye, building your internal database. The hunt is the lab work.
So this brings up a pretty good question. If it's so much work and the success rate is so low, why even do it? Well, the real motivation, the one that keeps you going, it goes way deeper than just making a profit. It's about becoming a preserver of history. And this is where what you're doing fits into a much bigger picture, the circular economy. Every time a scout pulls some grimy old tray out of a box that's headed for the dump, they're doing way more than just finding an item. They're actually rescuing a piece of history and giving it a whole new life. This is where you see the real power of having a trained eye. A novice, they'll walk right past a blackened, beat-up teapot and see old metal. But an expert, they see the potential hiding under all that grime. They can spot the quality of the original triple plate finish and know that with a little work, that piece can sing again.
Okay, here's some wisdom straight from an expert's workbench. Before you even bust out your magnifying glass to look for a stamp, just pick the piece up, feel its weight. Quality vintage silver plate was made with a really hefty base metal, stuff like copper or nickel silver. If it feels light and flimsy in your hand, like tin, your gut is probably right. It's junk.
And here's another pro tip for you. always be a little suspicious, especially when you see a sterling mark. It's actually not that hard for a forger to just stamp an old piece to try and jack up the price. But the key is to look really close. Does the wear and tear on the stamp match the wear on the rest of the piece? The tiny details, they'll always tell you the truth.
All right, so we've covered the mindset, the why. Now let's get into the how. Let's get tactical. What are the essential tools and techniques that you absolutely have to have in your toolkit when you're out there in the field?
Okay, these 5 things are your non-negotiables. First, always, and I mean always, carry a small magnet. Real silver isn't magnetic. If the magnet sticks, you're probably holding steel with a thin plating, not real silver plate. It's the fastest test there is. Second, start studying maker's marks. They're like the signatures of the craftsman and may tell you the story of the piece. Third, check for bleed. That's where the silver plating has worn through, usually on high-touch spots like handles, and you can see the coppery base metal underneath. A little bleed is fine, it shows its age. A lot of it means you've got a tough restoration ahead. Fourth, and this might sound weird, but trust your nose. Good silver doesn't really smell like anything. If you get a sharp, metallic smell, it could be a lesser metal like pewter. And finally, number 5, do not be afraid of tarnish. A thick, black, uniform layer of tarnish can actually act like a protective cocoon, shielding the silver underneath from scratches.
So, after all the digging, the cleaning, the research, what's the real reward here? What's the big takeaway? It's not just about the money you can make from a find. It's about something much, much bigger.
At the end of the day, this whole thing is a search for quality. It's about finding that tiny, tiny fraction of pieces, we're talking the top 2%, that really have the mark of true craftsmanship. These are the items that have survived for a century or more, for a reason. They were built to last, and they carry the stories of the artists who made them and the people who loved them.
Look, this entire pursuit really just comes down to what you bring to it. If you're out there just looking for easy money, the market is going to chew you up and spit you out. You'll probably end up disappointed. But if you go out looking for quality, for a connection to history, for an appreciation of true artistry, and for a chance to rescue something beautiful, well, then you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. Every single hunt becomes a success. So the real question isn't just what's out there to be found, it's what are you really searching for?